Hey guys, this is Psakamad here, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make the gold scar from Fortnite for your LEGO minifigures.
Alright guys, I apologize for the terrible audio quality here, but what you're going to need for this build is one brick arms hack, or another assault rifle that will work in its place, one banana magazine. This can either be custom, like the one I'm using, or from another assault rifle that has one, and then one barrel extension. In this case, I'm using a scope from a Star Wars rifle, the back part of one. Then you're going to cut off the existing magazine on whatever gun you're using, and then glue all three parts together.
Alright, so if you took those steps, you should have something that looks just about like this, which is pretty much what the scar looks like in the game Fortnite. Now I'm going to be doing a couple extra steps to make it look just a little more authentic, and that's going to be cutting off the sight on top here, adding a bit of a tactical rail on top, and then possibly extending this front iron sight a little bit more. And that is completely optional. If you like it the way it is, then you're probably ready just to move on to painting. But if not, I will show you what it looks like modified right after this. Alright, so this is what it looks like with the tack rail and iron sights attached. Basically all I did was cut a small piece of plastic, use a needle to just melt on all the little notches on there to give it that tactical rail kind of look. And then I glued a little piece of wood from a toothpick onto the back there, and then for the iron sights, they're literally just two pieces of metal that I bent into the right shapes. You can see there the shapes that I wanted. What I used is this this model kit metal, so it's like this stuff, and it was from a aluminum kit where you got to build a vehicle out of it. But anyway, it's just slightly thicker than tin can, so you could probably use like aluminum from a tin can just fine as well. So let's move on to painting. So for the paints I'm going to be using, I have this tan or dark sand modeling paint that I got when I got a model tank kit. Actually, I got this a Liquid Tech Mars Black, and this Deco Art Crafters Acrylic Silver Morning, actually, to be specific. So really there's no particular brand or anything I'm choosing here. As long as it's acrylic, I'm generally fine with it, and this is really just all I have for the colors that I want for this. Tan obviously being the base color for everything, and then black and silver for detailing. So definitely do not work off of these brands. Do not restrict yourself. As long as it's an acrylic paint, it should work okay. Now, one thing to note though is it's a little more of an expensive black paint, and it comes out very, very thick. So if you do happen to have any paint like that, make sure to thin it out with a bit of water or a bit of paint thinner before you apply it, because it will go on much, much easier that way and won't leave big blotches or bubbles and stuff that will look not so great on your finished product. Alright, so base coat finished. It's quite messy because it's really awkward to try to paint on camera and keep my hand out of the way. So I think I'm just going to let this dry out a little bit, and then I'll do a second coat, probably not on camera, and then I'll get back to you for doing the details, like painting the tactical rail black and the magazine that nice silver color. Alright, so second coat of tan paint on. It's looking pretty nice right now. I think the next thing that I'm going to move on to is the silver magazine here, because that actually has some black details that go on after it. So if I paint the silver on now, then when I go and do the black details, I can just do all the black details at once. So I'm going to be using the same brush as for the tan. It's not a particularly fine brush, but it's not a big brush either. It's just an average brush, an average painter's brush. For the black detail, I'm definitely going to want a thinner brush to get those tiny details like the tactical rail and stuff. For now, this brush is going to be fine. So with that done, it's starting to look more and more like the actual scar from Fortnite. I'm really liking how this is turning out. But I'm going to let that dry, probably put on a second coat, make it a little more bold, and then be right back with you guys for the black detailing. Alright, so I've given the silver paint some time to dry. Now it's time to move on to the black detailing. For this, you're going to want to use a nice and pointy brush, just like this. Get your paint nice and thin. I've kind of got a bit of a thick syrupy consistency going here. And we're just going to go get a little more paint on the brush here. And really, really slowly just start painting on our detailing. You really want to have patience with this step. It is alright if you make a mistake. Because of course you can just go over it with your tan paint. But it just looks better, I think, if you do it well the first time. So yeah, the important places to get your black paint are of course to get on the barrel if any of your glue is showing, tactical rail, the sights, and then there's a little bit of black on the bottom of the magazine and then on the back of the stock with a little like joint in the middle. So I'm going to quickly paint those on and get back to you when that's finished. Alright, so my hand's not perfectly steady, and even after touching it up with some more tan paint and stuff, it's still like not perfectly straight. You can kind of see in the stock there's a little bit of ripples, but hey, nobody's perfect, and you just got to do the best job you can. So, here you guys go. The gold scar from Fortnite, pretty much completely done. Now, the only last couple steps I'm going to do is just add a few details onto here. Actually, one cool thing, if I can find a needle, here we go. If we take something sharp like a needle here, we can add scratch marks on to the gun itself, which are in the gun in the game, by just kind of lightly scratching off some of the tan paint in a certain area. So you can kind of see how that works. Whoops. I guess I can hold it. Focus it better. You can see I added a little scratch mark there. And that's because our base gun is actually black, which works out really well. So those kind of things, you can add a few like of the dots, the screws, and there's a few other little details that you can add. But that is pretty much it for making your gold scar. So let's head right into the wrap-up. Alright guys, so this is just about it here. One thing that I forgot to mention earlier is the finish, like what you're going to put on top of your paint to keep it from scratching off. I'm just going to use a polymer spray-on, because that's the best I have, but really anything works. Like you could almost just leave it with the paint and be careful with it, but if you're going to be using it a lot, maybe for stop motion, or it's just going to be played with a lot, you probably just want to find something, some sort of finish, maybe even nail polish could work, to finish off your gun and make sure it doesn't get scratched up that much. But if it does get scratched up, it could just add to the overall aesthetic of that kind of battle damaged look that this already has. So I think that's everything for this video. I really enjoyed making it. I hope you guys really enjoyed watching it. If you did, please leave a like down below. And also comment and tell me if you do actually end up working on something like this or making a rendition of one of the Fortnite guns that are in the game. And I would be happy to see any that if you guys upload some videos. So God bless, have a great day. And this is Mad signing off.